So in the team page, it kind of was all over the place and like the things that I wanted to talk about, but I feel like they kind of all flowed together for the most part. But I feel like sometimes we need, reminders, gut checks, and things that we're focusing on. And I know back in January, one of the things that we talked about was sharing our vision for the team and just like starting the new year off exactly what we wanted to accomplish as a team together. And the book that I'm reading right now, I don't know if Jolie, if you've started it yet, because I know I sent it to you, but
Mhm.
um, the book that I'm reading right now is, oh my gosh, I literally just went blank. Positive,
Or
wow.
power of
Oh, Power of Positive Leadership. Yes,
yeah.
sorry. Wow. Okay. So in that book, it talks about making sure that as a team, you have this North Star. So it's this North Star that you're pointing to, that you're working towards. And I really was like, okay, when we first started back in January, I feel like that's when our team calls for us as a team really, really kicked off, like where people are hopping on, people are excited. And so one of the things that we talked about is I wanted to make it a point to have a team of leaders. So it's not just one person leading. It's not just this person and this person leading. It's literally working towards you taking ownership and leadership of your own personal business, your own personal journey. But then as that flows together, it's this united team of leaders who are bringing people into this environment and creating this like this hype and this excitement for the people that are coming in, right? And the cool thing about this is that you can have one coach, you can have 15 coaches, you could be a five-star diamond. Like the point that you decide that you are going to show up as a leader on the team is really just your decision. It doesn't have to come with a status quo of so many coaches and then you can be a leader, or you have to be this weight or look like this and then you can be a leader. No, no, no. And I love scrolling through Sister Empire on Thursdays and seeing the difference in women who are showing up and showing their leadership role within the team, right? Like as they're growing their business, they have decided like I'm showing up for myself, for my team. I'm going to kick tail and do this. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, this status quo of having being a diamond coach or having a six pack abs or looking like this or feeling like you kind of are on your own personal journey. I feel like always in this business, like that's where your starting point is. And so the North Star for me, like this vision that I have for this team is for you to be encouraged and challenged to show up in a leadership role because you're owning it. And then because of that, that ripple effects leads into you becoming more of a leader and leading your team and really seeing that those the work that is being sown, you get to reap the benefits of that. But it starts with that decision of I'm going to do this. Like I'm going to show up, or I'm going to ask questions on the team page, or I'm going to share this information. So I feel like our way to get to this point of having a team of leaders
Mhm.
is creating this environment
Okay.
that is welcoming, creating this environment that allows people to come in, but also having these expectations and things set in place for them to be successful. But also, like, hey, when you're coming into this team, this is what you're getting. Like, you're getting weekly team calls, you're getting this opportunity to be a part of a community. For me personally, environment is everything. Like, the environment that I show up in and the environment that's going to keep me coming back is going to be valuable. It's going to be real and raw. It's going to be fun and
Fun.
exciting and you know having that environment. I feel like for me, like a t-shirt's great, but a t-shirt or a tank top or a rank advancement is not going to have me coming back to this business every single day for me personally. And you have to kind of find like what is that that's going to bring you back into this, that's going to invite build that confidence to allow you to invite people into this. And so for me, it's the community aspect. It's the relationships that I get to build. It's the way that I get to create this ripple effect of like light and love and encouragement. And also like challenging people to step up their game in their life, and not just like their health and fitness journey, but like for me, and I want to speak personally, and then but I also want you to think like, what does that look like for you? Like what gets you excited and building that confidence when you're sharing about this journey. And maybe like you're at the very beginning of stages of even sharing about this. So what in your journey has made you want to come back? What in your life has changed that has allowed you to see the goodness and the light that this company, that this journey, that this opportunity, that this community brings to you? And one of the things that Leanne said on the first Push to Diamond call, she said that whatever your why is, whatever you're like yearning for or your goal is, it should evoke emotion. And I was like, man, like I mean, I thought about that, but like, I don't know, for some reason, the way she said it, it just really like hit home with me that when I'm speaking to other people, or when I'm telling my story, or when I'm sharing where I've come from to where I am now, or how I started my postpartum journey, or how I got back in the rhythm, all of those things, like I want to evoke emotion in the person that I'm speaking to. Um, and so I'm going to get into that because that's going to flow into like the whole conversations thing. But I want you as a coach, whether you have no coaches, one coach, brand new, 15, 5-star, you have to decide your role in this business, but you also have to decide your role in this team. Because I feel like it's really easy to just to for me for a long time, because Sister Empire grew so big, for me for a long time, I took maybe like back burner, or I was like, well, there's other leaders. Like there, I don't need to say that, or I don't need to share that information. But that was me just hurting me. And so I want to encourage you and challenge you that you have to decide your role in this team. And I hope it's one of sharing knowledge, diving into your own knowledge of the business so that you can pass that on to coaches and working coaches who are going to be signing up with you. So how do you get that conversation going? I said I was going to like lead into the conversation piece. One thing that I want to ask you when you're sharing this opportunity is I want you to share the opportunity, but I want you to think, or maybe even go look at your stories or your post. Are you posting at all? So that's where we start. And then what you are posting, do people get to really see you? Do people get to know more about you than you just being a Beachbody coach? And I will say personally, like it's really easy for me to post about Beachbody. Like, and I'm not gonna name drop and be like Beachbody, but it is easy for me to talk about my shakes, talk about my workouts, post all that, my energize. Like that's things that people know that they're going to get on my stories, but I don't want them to stop watching my stories because that's all they're going to get. And so how to get a conversation going is reminding yourself that you have to post other things besides what you're working towards, right? What you are doing, what your job is, or your side hustle, whatever you want to call it. So gut check, scroll your stories, scroll your posts. I always say like on Sundays, screenshot your last 9 on your Instagram. What does that look like? Do people get to really see you? Because these are how conversations get going. These are how people are going to continue coming to your page and to your platform, because something other than probably Beachbody is going to bring them back in. And so for me, I wrote down, what do I relate to? Like when I the top 10 people that I watch their stories. Okay. Why do I watch their stories? Because they're relatable, because maybe they're showing their kids, or maybe they're showing their messy house. Today I posted my workout video, y'all. Like, the curtains in the background were messed up, like there was stuff all over the table, and I was like, kind of like, oh, this doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. But then I was like, why am I going to go fix all that? Because that's not the space I work out in. Like, my space right now had like kid toys all over the ground because we're living in like 800 square feet of a house, and there's curtains that are my walls. Like, this is my life right now. So I want to be relatable. And maybe people don't relate to that, but maybe people relate to a messy house, but still getting a workout in, right? So, messy house, humor. Like, I love funny people. Also, too, recipes, and country life, like people in their daily lives. Like, why is that so attractive to us? I don't know, but it is. And like, people posting their what they're doing, their daily lives, is so cool to me. I don't know why. Like, you catch yourself going through stories just watching people's lives. And I want to speak to the people who work outside the home, because out of my whole 6 years of doing Beachbody, I've had now probably together to like a year, right? So I haven't for a long time had this time to like just be at home and post throughout my day. Okay. So how do I get around that? Nobody has to know that what I'm posting on Tuesday happened last Saturday. But what I had started doing is I started just taking videos of like random things, and almost like having a background of content for me to post about, because people watch my stories, right? If Haven's flying an airplane, or if like I post a recipe, but nobody has to know that cooked really two really good meals in one day. Nobody has to know that. I can post one meal on Tuesday and another meal on Thursday. Like, nobody has to know that it was different days. So I kind of wanted to just speak to that, because I know when I was working outside the home, it was like teaching, I literally could not be on my phone from like 7:30 to 4 o'clock. So it's like, and then I would post something at lunchtime. So, and I would schedule that because I didn't have time to post because I scarfed down my food. So just knowing that you're not the only one. And then also too, you have to figure out how to make it work. So a lot of times when I was working, there wouldn't be stuff posted between noon and 5. There just wouldn't. And that's okay. Like, nobody's gonna be like, well, she's not posting between noon and 5, so I'm gonna stop following her. No, it's just the content that you are posting has to be relatable. Okay. So meaning, when I say get the conversation going, you have to have other things on your social media. The next thing that I want to say is that one person out of all the people who have signed up in this past month has reached out to me. Every single other person I have had to reach out to. I've had to ask. Some of the people are new. Some of the people I've talked to for a year. Some of the people I've talked to for 2 months. Some people have said yes, then no, then yes and no. Like, and I just keep asking. So I want to tell you that the secret sauce is in you kind of ripping off the Band-Aid and being confident about what you have to offer. And don't selling yourself short by just hoping that people will come to you, because there are those people, right? I was that person. After stalking my coach for 10 months, I finally was like, okay, I'm doing it. Like, I was that person. But most of the time, that's not the person that's going to sign up with you. It's going to be the person who really, really wants to reach out, but just doesn't know if it's for them. Or maybe they just need you to start that conversation super simply, guys. It doesn't have to be over complicated. I feel like when I try to overthink a message, it ends up being the ones that, aren't genuine. And so today I was having a conversation with an older lady, and I was like, telling, like I was talking to myself because I normally I do voice messages. Um, and she was like, okay, so what do I do? And I was literally thinking to myself, I'm like, I am the coach. I know what's best, and I am going to give her the valuable information that is going to set her up in the best way. And then if she has a rebuttal back, then I can handle that. But I don't want to downplay what I think they're going to say and be on the defense in a conversation because I'm on the coach side. I'm on the side where I know what's best for her. And if you don't know what's best, please ask. I want to tell you that because a lot of times maybe you didn't know something, or maybe what you normally send out because of there's a promo, it might look differently this time. Or maybe they can get a better deal by setting up their cart this way. So I know as a new coach that that kind of stuff takes time. I texted my coach 3 different times today. I'm not kidding. 3 different times today asking her questions. It happens. I'm 6 years into this business and I'm still being a student of my business, meaning I still have questions. I'm still curious about things. I still don't always have the answer. And so I want you to know that asking questions isn't a bad thing. Asking questions probably means you have a good question, you're taking ownership of your business, and there's probably another coach in our team page that might have the same question. So if I don't get back to you, or if Jolie doesn't get back to you, or whoever your upline is, then you have the opportunity to utilize our team page, which goes back to that environment. Like I want that space to be available, to not where we're only celebrating people, or to not where I'm giving you information, but like where you have the opportunity to like, oh, I need this answered really quick. Well, there's like 30 people in there. That's 30 eyes that can be on it. So I just want you to know that it's not a space for me to just post. It's a space for us to come together. I know Sarah posted something the other day, and same with Jolie, and that's exactly what I want. I want that to be that community feel where it's not one person, it's the whole entire team. Um, so another thing that I wanted to talk about is when we're talking about like our confidence in coaching and what we know is best. If you don't know, then ask one, but then also diving into your coach office and really doing the work that it takes to be a leader. So if you're like deciding, I want to take ownership of my business, whether you're wanting to pay for your product or whether you're wanting to maybe see what this could turn into, or maybe you're like, I'm blowing and going balls to the walls, I'm doing this, that doesn't matter. You still have to take ownership and dive into what you're curious about. So if you don't understand team volume, go watch a video about it. If you don't know how to handle this situation, there are like the best of the best trainings. But I also want to say, you can definitely, and I've heard this so many times, you can definitely be overtrained and you can underwork. So you're doing all of these trainings, you're getting all these calls, you're like listening to all this content. But if you don't ever put in the action for that stuff, then that doesn't matter. Then you aren't really utilizing all of the golden nuggets that you're learning and putting them into action. And so when we're talking about the conversation, you have to get into people's inboxes. Okay. You have to like listen to some jams, pump up your, like whatever you have to tell yourself that, and that's where like those crazy, as it seems, like positive affirmations come in. Like today in the car, I literally told myself, like, I am the coach. Like, I know what I have to offer is good. I don't need to have to like beg somebody to do this because I already know it works. I feel incredible. So, like, what I'm telling her is the truth of like, hey, this is what you're going to get in your package. This is how I'm going to sign you up. And then as soon as you sign up, I'm going to add you into our accountability groups. And the nice thing about our accountability groups is it's not just one kind of person in there. You get to show up at whatever fitness level that you're at whatever season of life that you're in, and allow it. If you allow it, let it work for you. And like I got off the voice record and I was like, bam, like, yes, like I did that. And also too, I want to say that there are a lot of times I'll be voice recording, and I swear, y'all, practicing it out loud helps you in your confidence and in your speaking, right? So I will voice record and then delete, and voice record and then maybe delete it because I forgot something and I wanted to say it differently. Um, and same goes with messages. I was sending out messages about the codes, and to some of my discount coaches, like coaches who are inactive or coaches who, haven't been in an accountability group in a while, whatever it was. And I sent the message to Bridget to tell her, like, hey, this is how I was wording it. And then literally like 5 minutes in, I told her, like, oh, okay, maybe I'm going to change a couple of things up in how I'm wording this to make it sound better. And then I told her, I was like, well, depending on who you're talking to. So really, you can have messages, and like I always like to post like how I'm saying something to somebody. Like I sent something to Jenna yesterday on like how I say it. But I do want to say, you you don't like the person in your inbox who has a scripted message. So you need to make sure that you get to know the people that you're talking to. Um, Scroll their Instagram, scroll their feed, know what they maybe enjoy. Maybe just, I feel like following up and getting to know the people that you are talking to is super important because that's you building that relationship. And so, depending on who you're talking to, is how you cater that message. So, yes, you can have a guideline. And that's why I like to post what I send, because it is so nice. Like I remember asking my coach, like, okay, well, this person said this, like, what do I say? I don't know. Like, I don't know. That was so new to me. And she would send me like, not scripts. She would send me like, this is kind of what I said. And then I was able to tweak that, because sometimes it is like hard to like get that wording down when you're brand new at this, but tweak it to make it fit the person that you're talking to. So let me see. Voice message, ask probing questions. So to get that conversation going, especially if I don't know a lot about them, when I ask somebody like, okay, for instance, let me give you an example. Um, somebody you reach out and you say like, hey, I have a group starting May 3rd. I'm super pumped to like have a lot of girls in it. I wanted to see if it's something that you wanted to hop into, question mark, right? Or I wanted to see if you wanted to hear some more information about it. Sure, tell me more. And then you're like, what do I say? Like I've been there. And so I always ask them, because I want them to tell me a little bit about them and maybe what their struggles are before I like word vomit, right? Like we don't want to do that. And so I always ask them, like, can you tell me a little bit about where you're at in your health and fitness journey? Or maybe some things that you struggle with, question mark. That's a probing question. That's getting them to tell you, hey, I need what you have to offer. That's you setting yourself up for success. Okay. And it's also allowing you to get to know them before you answer them back. Because asking that, I've learned so much. Like I go to CrossFit, or I totally have this is what I've been doing on the nutrition side. And a lot of times when I ask those questions, like I'll say, what is your current like health and fitness routine? And also, are there some things that maybe you're struggling with, or things that you feel like you are, you are being super successful at? I know for me, and I give them like a personal thing. Like I know for me, I really struggled with the motivation to continue after like the first week. Right. And so that gives them like, oh, wait, okay, maybe I relate to that because I also struggle with motivation to continue something. Or I struggled with not really understanding what exactly I should be doing on the nutrition side. Um, and so giving them a question, but then also kind of allowing yourself to be a little bit vulnerable if you've struggled with something, and sharing that personal tip with them or sharing that personal information, I feel like allows that space to be more open. So is that helpful. I think I don't know. I always like to hear what other people's conversations sound like. So and like I said, get to know your customers, follow up with them. I had a customer who fell off. Um, and I was like, hey, and something happened to her kid, and I was checking in on her. And because I did not ask, this was yesterday, I did not ask one single question about Beachbody. I did not say anything. I just commented on a story. And then she just like spilled the beans. And I was like, oh, well, this is why I didn't say this, but I'm thinking like, oh, this is why she isn't showing up. Like, this is a ton on her plate. But just by me, like, oh my gosh, something about your son. And then like, how are things going? I feel like she just needed somebody to ask her that, honestly. And I got to be the person that she was able to vent to. I don't really actually know her all that well, but she signed up with me a while back and kind of fell off. And so it just goes to show you that you get to be people's cheerleader. You get to be their encourager. You get to maybe be the only person that checks in on them. You get to be the person that says like, hey, I don't know, I was just thinking about you today. I wanted to check in on you. How is your Tuesday going? Like maybe they really, really needed that. So I feel like sometimes as coaches, you get to be more than just like a coach. You get to be that person who has their back, or that person who encourages them, or the person who challenges them to step up their game in their life. So, which I feel like is such a big blessing in this business. So, but it's really all I have. Does anybody have questions about conversations or things that maybe you've heard? I'm kind of glad that that went from team to conversation so smoothly. I was kind of nervous about that. Does anybody have like anything to add or any business talk that you wanted to go over?
Just
I have a
that
question.
you mentioned that when you first started out, you kind of went to your coach for questions, like how I went to you yesterday. I was like, well, Tiffany's probably busy being a coach. She probably doesn't have time to answer all of my questions, but I appreciate that. It was helpful, and hopefully she's signing up tonight. She was texting me all day,
yay.
so your
Well,
messages
and
did help.
don't ever think that I'm too busy, because if I'm too busy, then I won't answer you, and I'll get to you when I like see my phone. But like when I think about this job and this business and like what blesses my heart, and I don't mean that in a cheesy way, it's to see other people succeed. Like, it's not fun building and I said this on the call last week, like it's so much more fun, amazing, fills your cup, fuels your fire to have people doing this together. Like, it makes it 10,000 times better. So questions are good because that means you're growing, you're learning. And then the questions that you're asking, when your coach has questions and you're a working coach, you get to see that fire building up under them, and then having all those probing questions. You're going to like see that excitement of like, you want to answer them, because if you're answering them and you're giving them tips and your thoughts and your knowledge and your wisdom, then you get to see them be successful, which is like incredible. So always, always, always reach out. Julie, were you going to say something?
Yeah. What I feel like I'm drawing a blank as far as like I still have some discount codes left, and I don't know like what should I say? How can I guide a conversation like for people who have been like super interested, and I told them about the codes and now they're like not messaging me back. So I don't know like what kind of follow-up message for the code specifically look like. I don't want to come off like too eager because I'm really excited. Like, this is a great deal, but
I think this is the only time it's happened. And so I obviously show my excitement about that, but I also have to realize too, like, this is Beachbody's time to send out these codes. This might not be that other time for that person. My cousin, she was talking to me and she's like, I want to sign up so bad, but I cannot sign up until next Wednesday. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you because these codes are not my codes, they're the company's codes. And so I was like, if there's any way that you could do that, then that would be amazing. If not, like, I'll still be here when you're ready. But and I kind of spoke to Bridget about that too. Like, you can be excited and you can share this. And I remember Ashley Molstead said this in a training. She said, you pull over on the side of the road, somebody's car is, stalled, they don't have any gas, and like you bring the gas can that you had from home. And they're like, oh, no, it's okay. And you're like, but I have the gas. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, and they make up some kind of excuse and you're like, okay. And so you like drive off, and then maybe in a week or a month, like what she was saying with coaching is that like, you're always going to have the value. You're always going to have what most people, I'm not going to say all, but what most people could benefit from and what most people could really like succeed in when it comes to like the health and fitness world, and even job opportunity. But your job is to present the opportunity, whether it's your community, whether it's the business side, the discount for these products. But it's their decision whether they want to sign up. And so it's like $40 is nuts. Like, I think about what people are getting at, and like, I know it's crazy good deal because I also know what I paid for every single thing that is now all bundled together. Like, I paid $60 for Portion Fix. I paid $60 for 2B Mindset. I paid $130 for Shakeology. I paid $160 for one pro. Like, I know, but if it's not their time, it's not their time. And then when they are ready, they're going to pay the $160 and be ready. So it's like, I have these promo codes to give, but ultimately, like, we do our part in sharing and popping back in and saying like, hey, the sale ends in 24 hours. Like, super excited for you to hop in May 3rd. If you want to, let me know what you're thinking. And also too, even if it's saying like, if they're not commenting back, I always say like, hey, if this is not a good month for you, do you want me to check back in next month? So it allows them to have an out without having to say no. And then you put that on your like monthly check-in list of like, hey, my next group is coming up June 12th. Like, hey, my next group is coming up. And that's just a part of the business. Like, that part is knowing that people are going to say no, knowing that people are going to ghost you, and then not taking it personally. And I didn't learn that until I started diving into personal development. Because I was like, they don't like me. Like, no, that's not for them right now, So also, like, people canceling, people not doing it with you, people ghosting you, people that not wanting to do it. Y'all, like, all my best friends don't do this with me. Like, my best girlfriends, none of them do it. So don't take it personally if somebody's not hopping in with you. So I love them to death and they love me, and I know that, but they're not doing this, and it's okay. So, but does that help? So checking back in, but then I also feel like if people are not answering, then also giving them that way out. So, Rebecca hit Emerald today. Can we just celebrate that? Like, that's so exciting. So incredible. It's awesome.
Thank you. I did have another question. Whenever you were whenever you were talking about reaching out to people and just sending them that message, like, hey, I'm starting the group, I want you to come be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide who to send that to? Like, do you just go through people and you're like, oh, she might like this? Because the people that I've had message me are people that I would not have reached out to. Like, these are like people I never would have thought would be interested. And so I just don't know how to, I guess, I don't want to say pick and choose because that sounds like, weird, but I don't know how to decide like who would be good and who would want to be a part of this group and who should I reach out to.
I always feel like your people will surprise you. people come out of the woodworks and for some reason they connect with you for whatever reason. And that's not our job to decide who is and isn't ready or right for their health and fitness journey to start. I think definitely when you're speaking to like the coaching side, you know, I sign up, I would say 90% of my people as coaches because it is the best deal. So me as a coach, I know that if they never sell anything, they never do anything, I'm going to be signing them up as a coach if they are utilizing the products, right? I don't know who is and isn't going to be successful in this business. I don't know. I mean, it's just, it really, I feel like when it comes to your challenge group, you definitely have to set the vibe and the expectations of like, this is what you expect. And then when you have other people who have that same belief mindset and are giving it they're diving in with you, and then your challengers get to see that, then hopefully that will just like ignite that snowball effect of other people following in the same footsteps. And that's why I always say like, it's so important to decide your role as a coach, because you want to be creating that environment, creating that vibe where when people are getting signed up, they know exactly what they're getting. And I always say like, are you being the kind of coach that you want to sign up? So you also have to think about your journey and like how it started. I always think about that. Like the person I am now is not the person that I was 6 years ago. Like very, very different. Like I was in a very dark, bad place and just like trying to crawl myself out. And so, I mean, I feel like there's an element where you can be picky, but I also at the same time, I feel like it's not our job to decide who can and can't do this. I don't know. Because maybe it's something that somebody truly needs. Are you talking about more for like the challenger aspect or coach aspect?
I'm talking about like whenever you said that we have like our challenge groups and just sending out those messages so that way we can get people to join in with us and get them started. So, I mean, I know reaching out to your friends, number one, because usually you would think, you know, like you said, yours don't sign up. And I had a hard time just getting my mom to sign up. Like that's my mom.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes it's not those super close people to you, even though those are the ones I want to reach out to right away. So then I'm just like, I don't even know who to message because I've been wanting to start a group, but I don't know what to do. So,
well, I mean, if you have people reaching out to you, you like I mean, that is exciting. Like, because if somebody's reaching out to you, that means that they're brave enough and they connect with you enough and feel safe with you enough to be like, what are you doing? Like, and maybe they will, and maybe they won't sign up. You don't know that, but at least that's your opportunity to plant a seed, to at least give them enough information and value to where then they get to decide if they want to do this or not, if they're ready or not. But if people are reaching out to you, like, I don't know, for me, I'm like, the more the merrier. Like, girl, if you're ready to start your journey, like, heck yeah. Like, I don't know. That's just how I would think of it. So it's maybe who you think should be doing this or will be doing this. Maybe it won't be those people. Maybe it'll be a different crowd, and that's okay. Because you want the people who are willing and excited and like ready, you know? Does that help?
Yeah.
I mean, I literally, when I first started, I made a list of people that okay, so this might help. I made a list, this is what I was told to do, of people that I wanted on my team. Okay, like, so people who were on my dream team, coaching wise, right? But they have to start out as challengers. They have to start out, you know, getting healthy. So like I wrote my 50 people. Okay, that's what I did. I wrote 50 people down. And then I just sent them messages. And it's like when you're new at coaching, sorry, there's a bug. When you're new at coaching, the nice thing is that you're still kind of naive to the business side. So it's just like, come do this with me. Like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so good. I lost a pant size, or like, you know, I was able to get off this medication, or I haven't done, you know, like all these different things. Like that's the exciting part. And like, you've got to take control of your health. So you're getting to share that with other people. And that's just you presenting the opportunity. And then I feel like by your consistency, and this matters, your consistency allows people to say like, okay, wait, so she's not switching to something else. Or wait, okay, so she is now like, she dropped another pant size, or she was able to do this, or like she went from feeling like this to now feeling like this, and she has 3 kids under 5. Like, you know, like your brain starts thinking like, okay, well maybe I can do this, because you're kind of being vulnerable enough to allow people to think for themselves like, okay, well she's doing this, and I kind of know her. I went to high school with her. I worked with her. I went to school with her, like whatever. Like maybe I can do this too. So that just goes back to that part of being relatable. Kate said that on the call the other night of like, she's like this crazy successful, I mean, like mind-boggling numbers where she's at in her business. But she said every single time she posts about that side of it, because that's so unrelatable to so many people, she gets crickets in terms of job opportunity. But when she posts the pictures of when she was like depressed, or when she was, like at her heaviest, or when she was like in the thick of her postpartum, or when she was, talks about like all the different things that she tried to lose weight, that's where she gets the bulk of her people, because people that she's talking to are at that level, and she's speaking to them. And so it's like, you might be continuing your journey, but you also have to remember where you started, So, and I always feel like that's humbling when you get to look back at that and be like, man, this has changed my life. And then you have the opportunity to share that with other people. So was that okay? Did that kind of help? Okay. Thank y'all so much for hopping on. I think that was good. I could talk forever, but I'm not going to. Okay, y'all. Well, okay, let's take a picture real quick with my laundry in the background. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm gonna have to crop out like the bread and then mail, and I literally like still have dinner stuff like all over the counter right now. Oh, okay, y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.